Hello students, I am Dr. Shailen Kumar Singh, and in today's lecture we will discuss about the last stage of carbohydrate metabolism, electron transport chain. Actually, this final stage of cellular respiration is not only related to the carbohydrate metabolism but also linked with the degradation of fats and proteins. We will see this thing later in the classes. Our current understanding of ATP synthesis in mitochondria is actually based on the chemio-osmotic hypothesis, which was introduced by Peter Michel in 1961. But before that, let's recap the things for better understanding. Okay, this is a uh, roadmap of cellular aerobic respiration. As we have discussed earlier, glucose is undergoes into the cytoplasm after the digestion and it undergoes into the cytoplasm of the cell. This part is the cell. Suppose this part is the cell. This is our cell whole, and glucose undergoes into the cytoplasm. And in this cytoplasm, there are this metabolic enzyme, glycolytic enzymes, and it undergoes in glycolysis. Glycolysis is the process in which glucose, six carbon molecules of glucose break down into two carbon molecules of pyruvic acid. We have seen this glycolysis in previous classes and produce two NADH and two ATP. And this pyruvic acid undergoes into the Krebs cycle and this NADH undergoes into the mitochondria and we gain 2 ATP. In this Krebs cycle, pyruvic acid undergoes into the oxidation and produce 8 NADH and 2 FADH2 and produce 2 ATP. So how many ATPs from till now? Totally 4 ATP, but life takes lot of energy and it needs more energy to run that. Something like that. This athletic need more, this kind of athletics sport person need more ATP. So they need more ATP to how our body will generate. We will generate this ATP with the help of electron transport chain. Actually, one of the key facts is that a working muscles recycles over 10 million ATPs per second. This is not possible for only for glycolysis and with the help of Krebs cycles. So we need a solid mechanism which can extract more ATP. And these NADH and FADH2 are the electron carriers. They are energy rich carriers. They contains energy, and they undergoes into the subsequent oxidation in this electron transport chain
Oink
and
oink.
release energy. So this is the time to break open the piggy bank. These are the storage coins, and we need to extract these energy coins with the help of this electron chains. Okay, let's move on to the next slide and see how better we can do this with the help of this electron transport chain. As electron transport chain is a series of protein which is molecules which built in the inner mitochondrial membrane. It built along the Christie. We will see in this later slides, and it transports the electrons down, linked to the pump of hydrogen ion and created hydrogen gradient and release 34 ATP from the oxidation of one glucose molecule. So now let's move on to the next slide and see how these things work. Mitochondria are special because they have their own ribosome and DNA. Mitochondria are working organelles that keep the cell full of energy. So mitochondria are double membrane and shaped perfectly to maximize their productivity. And they are made of two membranes. Outer membranes covered with the organelles and contains it like a skin. It is freely permeable to the small molecules and ion. This is the outer membrane of this. And uh, inside this linear membrane folds over many times and impermeable to small molecules and ions. This we call inner membrane. So these are the impermeable to the small molecules and hydrogen ion also as well. It contains layered highly folded structures which we call cristae. Cristae contains respiratory electron carriers, complexes 1 to 4, enzymes and transport proteins. Since many of the chemical reactions happen on the inner membrane, the increased surface area creates more space and reactions to the inner membrane of single liver mitochondria may have contained more than 10,000 sets of electron transport system and ATP synthesis molecules, which are distributed over the membrane surface. And similarly, heart mitochondria, which have more profuse cristae, so they have larger surface area of inner membrane, and they contain 3 times more sets of electron transfer system as compared to the liver mitochondria. So if you have more space to work, you can get more work done. And in the there is the intermembrane space also, in which it contains the fluid matrix in the mitochondria, like pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, citric acid cycles, and enzymes, fatty acid oxidation also takes place in this, and amino acid oxidation also. So this is the animation. As you can see, all of the membranes and inner membrane here, and these are the intermembrane space. Now let's move on to the uh, next animation. This is the mitochondria actually, okay, and we will now discuss about this area, particularly this area about this, and we will see details of this area. Suppose this is the our uh, this different electron carriers situated here. So let's go to the next slide. So this is the picture of the electron transport chain. As you have seen earlier, we are discussing about this part. Suppose this is the part of the mitochondria. So if this is the part, then this is the outer membrane, and this one is the inner membrane. Okay, and this is the inner mitochondrial membrane which we have discussed, and this is the intermembrane space where matrix is filled. And at the inner membrane, we can see there are so many electron carriers are situated here, like NADH dehydrogenase complex, cytochrome B6 complex, and cytochrome C oxidase complex. Now let's move on to the this is the different electron carriers which uses for exergonic flow of electrons to electron transport chain and pump these hydrogen ions across the membrane. We will see that in the later classes. So this is the overall picture. So oxidation phosphorylation occurs over several distinct steps. Okay, like oxidation this is the first step of the building proton gradient. So we need to build a proton gradient, high concentration of the hydrogen ion. So oxidative phosphorylation begins with the entry of electrons. As you can see in this image, this is the high energy electron energy molecule NADH, and it's break down into the NADH, NAD plus and H plus ion. And this H plus ion, we can say that this is the proton is positively charged, and when it releases its negative charge, then we contain one proton and one electron, and these things pump the hydrogen out to upside. Okay, upside, and this proton hydrogen goes inside the intermembrane space. We will see in this. Suppose this is NADH, and it's oxidized into the reduced into the NAD plus, and here is the hydrogen, and it's pumped in, releases the electron here and goes inside the hydrogen plus ion. So then it pumps the hydrogen ion with this mechanism, and this electron undergoes into different electronic carriers, okay, and pumps subsequently hydrogen ions. And similarly, FADH2 also releases the this kind of hydrogen ions. Okay, now we will see this high energy electron releases make a gradient. In this part of the cell, we contains high hydrogen concentration, and this part of the cells we contain low hydrogen concentration. So as you can see, electron passes through the chain. In this slide, you can see that electron passes through the chain. And when they pass, they lose energy, okay, which is used by the chain and pump hydrogen ions from the matrix and accumulate the high hydrogen concentration within the intermembrane space, or it generates a proton motive force. Okay, and later on it generates a ATP energy. This diffusion of protons is called chemiosmosis, and it is facilitated by the transmembrane enzyme ATP synthase, as you can see in this picture. As the hydrogen ions move through the ATP synthase, they trigger the molecular rotation of the enzyme and synthesize ATP. As you can see in this picture also, as you have seen, the NADH is the high energy molecule. These are the NADH high energy molecule. So it will be undergoing into the low energy molecules. And as electrons from food, you will get NADH here, and it as it go different steps in this transport chain, it will release some energy, and this energy will be utilized to pump the hydrogen ions. And finally, it will be at the low energy state, and they form the water. We will see in the later slide. So this is a picture where any electron carrier is released their energy to the different electronic carriers, like NADH and FeDH2 release different energy, and these electrons move steps from high concentration to the low concentration downhill to the oxygen, and each carrier more electronegative. This is the more negative than this one, and they control the oxidation and controlled release of energy. It set up a hydrogen gradient and release the protons flow through the ATP synthase, and it creates a proton motive force which pumps hydrogen concentration to the low hydrogen concentration and release the ATP. So ATP synthase, we can see a similarity with the ATP synthase mechanism of action and a hydroelectric power dam. As shown here in this animation, the release of stored energy from a dam, letting the water drive the turbines. As you can see this picture, this turbine is rotating and generate the electricity in these wires. Okay, and as like that, the first step of that is the pumping of proton, and it creates a proton motive force. It is full of protons. So here is the high concentration of protons, as you can see in this animation, high concentration of protons, and it creates a high concentration of and stored at the outer membrane. So the proton motive force cause a hydrogen ions to move down to their electrochemical gradient, so something like that, and diffuse uh, back into the mitochondrial matrix. This matrix. This process is facilitated by with the help of ATP synthase, which act as a turbine. As the hydrogen ions move through ATP synthase, they trigger the molecular rotation of the enzyme and synthesize ATP, and something like the electricity generated by the turbine. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide and see how we can reduce the energy. As we have seen that ATP is now formed, but for the electron transport chain to continue functioning, the de-energized electron must be removed. These are the de-energized electron that must be removed. So how they will be removed? With the help of oxygen. Oxygen acts as a final electron acceptor and remove the de-energized electrons to prevent the chain from becoming blocked. And oxygen also binds with the free protons in the matrix and form water. So removing matrix proton maintains the hydrogen gradient. So in the absence of oxygen, hydrogen carriers cannot transfer energized electrons to the chain and ATP production is halted. Now let's move on to the next slide. This we call oxidative phosphorylation. This picture shows the summary of overall electron transport chain processes. As you can see, the electrons are harvested here from the NADH high energy molecules and carried to the transport system, a particular transport system. And these electrons provide energy to the pump protons across the membrane and they pump the hydrogen ion inside this intermembrane space. And then oxygen joins the with the protons to form water, as you can see here, and protons diffuse back down their concentration gradient and drive the synthesis of ATP, as we have seen in the ATP synthesis case with the help of ATP synthesis. Same concept we can see in this animation also. These are the electron cell transport chain and this is the ATP synthase. In the first step, uh, this hydrogen carriers release high energy electrons and oxidize from oxidized substrate and pass through a chain of carriers arranged in asymmetrically in the inner membrane. Okay, and electron flow is accompanied by protons transfer across the membrane and producing both a chemical gradient like pH difference and electrical gradient. The inner mitochondrial membrane is impermeable to protons, so protons can enter the matrix only through these proton-specific channels F0 of ATP synthase enzymes, and the proton motive force that drives the protons back into the matrix. This matrix provides the energy for ATP synthase, and they catalyze the F1 complex associated with the F0 particle, and they produce this ATP. So this in this lecture we have seen that electron transport system are the successive electrons accepted are at the lower and higher lower energy levels. With each transfer of a lower energy level, electrons release some of their potential energy. That is why this series is called electron cascade, like a cascade of falling water. At the each stage, energy is released and used to form ATP. Since electron transport involves oxidation as well as phosphorylation, like phosphorylation means ADP plus AP equal to ATP. This process by which cell system traps chemical energy is called oxidative phosphorylation. The passage of electrons from NAD to oxygen generates 3 ATP molecules, where a passage of electrons from FAD to oxygen generates only 2 ATP molecules. In this animation, you can see the different process in the electron transport chain. Now let's move on to the next slide. So we have seen in the classes, glucose undergoes into the mechanism glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and electron transport chain. So in the glycolysis, glucose produces 2 ATP directly and 2 NADH, which is equivalent to 6 ATP. And glycolysis, pyruvic acid is produced, which undergoes into the acetyl coenzyme and produce 2 NADH, It is also equivalent to 6 ATP. This acetyl coenzyme A undergoes into Krebs cycle, and Krebs cycle produce 2 ATP directly and 6 NADH, which is equivalent to 18 ATP, and 2 FADH2. It is equivalent to 4 ATP. So how much ATP is produced total? 38 ATP. So from oxidation of one glucose molecule, around 38 ATP is produced. So now the question time. I hope that from this lecture you have learned a lot of things and you can able to answer these questions. Where do the electrons from ATC come from? Where is this process takes place, and how this electron gets settled down with the electron transport chain, and what is the final acceptor of the electron? So these kind of questions you can easily answer. And if you have any problem or doubt, you can mail me your queries at the rate of drshell82 at the rate gmail.com. Thank you.